like 10 minutes late, so we can do a little bit of collaging.
And we're live.
Excellent. Hello world, this is the Pod Lab Proof of Concept demo team doing what we do, which is tracking the Mojo phenomenon, the human qualia phenomenon, and showing the methodology we use to do so. We'll have a normal 3-act structure, which is Act 1, collaging, where we look at pictures of celebrities doing the various physiological cues and associating the descriptive names for them. The intermediate portion is where the team has had a week to look at 5 to 10 samples under blind test conditions, and we're going to see what the cohesion accuracy is for the team. The most challenging samples we'll spend some time reviewing. The samples this week came from Malcolm. And then Act 3, our advanced portion, is where we will do a live read in real time, and the team will be talking out what they're seeing or not seeing, and the dialogue they have, asking questions and making assertions and weighing things back and forth amongst each other. That's the same dialogue each Mojo reader is having in their own psyche. So those also come from Malcolm. All right. Let's get started. I am Nai G Coach.
I am Jaini Jailene.
This is Nai G Glenn.
DJ Bruno.
Take it away.
All right. So we're going back into the pop culture TV show timelines. We have been making our way through the 2010 through 2014 pop culture timeline, and we're going to pick back up with elementary. We're going to do it round robin today, starting off with Coach and reading off the show descriptions and the cast and their mojos, and of course giving out a cue for the first time that we go around reading a cast member's mojo, and then anytime we encounter a new gender mojo, we'll also read out a cue for them as well. So Coach, whenever you're ready, please take it away.
Cool. One of my favorite shows, Elementary, a modern take on the cases of Sherlock Holmes with the detective now living in New York City.
Starring Naizee Johnny Lee Miller as Sherlock Holmes. As an Naizee, one thing you'll note is the energy that's coming from the eyes. Here it's more of a He has sort of a detached look on both pictures, but one, he has a detached look while looking at the camera, but still kind of detached and just reading things kind of in a cunning sort of way. On the right-hand side, he is looking off. Not sure if there's something specific he's looking at, but regardless, he has sort of a detached, sort of a dreamy sort of look as he's taking it in, and also cunning, and that comes from the Nai. And then you'll notice that Naizee will have shy, unaware mouth, so more energy on the lower lip, not really aware of them. It's not really intended to send messages to move social dynamics, more so it's a reactive power that's reacting to the information and inputs in an emotive, resonating sort of way, inner resonation of how it hits them. But that doesn't go above the midline for Naizee. Their cheeks will be free of emotive expression and flexations.
Alright, this is Naizee Lucy Liu. She's another Naizee, but she's a female. And with her, something that strikes me is that she's got Asiatic features and stuff, and so naturally they have those very, very flat cheeks. But you can see that those cheeks are not just flat in terms of physicality, but there's also a physiological quality to it as well, which is that she has Z as her tandem power, and that gives her an anvil look to her face. Her mouth, you can definitely see, though, is unaware. It's downturned, and you can see it has that sort of expectant quality that all Jai users have. Especially in the picture on the right, you can see she's kind of, her mouth is open in a little bit of a slacky kind of way, a slack jaw kind of way, but she's a directive, so she still has natural tensioning in her joints and all of her, in her entire body, I guess you could say. So there is still that, but it is definitely, you can see the Jai in that as well. And obviously she has the Nai cunning, and in both pictures you can see she's drifting and also has that piercing, cunning quality in her eyes. Very hooded and very dreamy.
Genii Air Quinn. So as a Genii, he has full-faced emotive expression, where you can see the G, warm or baleful, butter or baleful spectrum takes over the entire face. So from below the lip line to above the brow line. Um, and in contrast, you see the Xi, the polar Xi, which is his fourth power, only really shows up in the area right below the eyes to about the midline. So it's the least amount of neutralizing that can be done by any of the mojos is the Jez alpha. And in the case of the G alpha, that is going to be Xi localized right below the eyes. You can see there in both pictures, the eye area just below the eye area. That's really all that the neutralizing. That's as far as the neutralizing goes. Um, in both pictures, you can see a good amount of emotive expression, even though he's sort of trying to hold it still.
Genii John Michael Hill. Him kind of says similar things to what Bruno mentioned, because in both these pictures he's trying to hold himself with his Xi. The one on the left he's tilted to the right, and the one on the right he's tilted and got a pullback going. But both of them you see that G helmet of caring, that full face tonal quality, even though he's actually doing almost no movement in the mouth area, still there's tone throughout the face.
Nizai Ophelia Lobibon as Kitty Winter. And Nizai will have their eyes will have the most energy. See them in both pictures. And when she's looking a little bit off and looking intently at the subject, she has this drinking in sort of quality to her eyes, because she's drinks in patterns that are happening in the environment, and sort of like the information between the senses, kind of the sixth sense information. And so the eyes have a dancing quality, also called a laughing quality. But they're drinking in and taking in information. And then you notice the second thing that jumps out to me is as far as like the mouth, the energy around the mouth, and it has an aware sort of quality, more energy in the upper lip, upturned smile on the corners of the mouth, but then and you can see it on the right hand side. You can see it on both pictures, but the right hand side, because the shadows, the way they cast, you can notice it even more of how even though she's there are flexations, muscle flexations around her mouth area as she is articulating her mouth, and you can see the emotive flexations here above her lip. It doesn't go past this crease of the cheek and into her cheeks, and those are still on both pictures. Share. That comes from the Xi, which is a secondary momentum for them.
Naiji Reese Ifans as Mycroft Holmes. Naiji is new, so similar to the Nai Z that was read earlier. They're both Nai Alpha, so you can definitely see that there's a cunning quality and there's a hooded quality as well. And you can definitely see in the picture on the left, he's got more of like this. Well, in both pictures actually, you can see that he's got this drifty kind of cunning quality to his eyes. He's kind of a little bit channeling, I think. But unlike the Nai Z, they have G and they have Xi as their tandem and offside powers. So that gives more the G up to the brim line, which is right below the eyes. And there's fine flexations that you can take note of that that go into the cheek area, for the Naiji, given that. And but he's got quite a bit of Zai going on as well, and that's what he uses to sort of like hold himself still. But unlike the Jinai, it's not their polar power; it's more offside, so it's a little bit more natural for them. But not natural. It's still altered, but it's easier for them to use their Zai as compared to like the Jinai. Uh, so so he has good use of his Zai, and for the most part, yeah, he's got like an interesting kind of look that he's got going on in both pictures. But yeah, it's I think a little bit disassociated, but yeah, good use of his powers, I think.
Yeah, a little dissociated with the eyes, but it looks like he's still taking things in and.
Yeah, it's kind of very detached way, right? Yeah.
Nizai, Natalie Dormer.
Nizi, Sean Pertwee.
Key and Peele. Project C's Keegan Michael Key and Jordan Peele in front of a live studio audience bantering about a topic weave between film shorts and sketches.
Project Cease.
Yeah, I know. Like, okay, I'm just gonna roll with it, but I don't know.
Yeah, let's roll with it. All right, Nizai, Keegan Michael Key as various characters. So Nizai male is new, I believe, right?
Yes, it is.
Right. So similar to the Nizai female, exactly the same, pretty much, except just gender differences. They have the knee as their source power, and you can definitely see it, but it doesn't go into his cheeks. It's definitely got like his face has that bi-fueled face, but the knees are interesting because they have like a three-part structure to their face, which is like their eyes have the knee going on, and they have this very sort of like flat, emotionless kind of quality tone to their cheek area, and then their mouth tends to have a lot of strong G that goes to the left and right, and gives a Cheshire quality, Cheshire kind of smile, and it's very interesting the way that works for them, and you can definitely see that he's got good G in both pictures. Yeah, I mean, basically.
The warm smile and the laughing eyes together is a cool combo.
This very appealing.
Looks like Bruno's stepping up, so maybe coach.
Okay. Nizai, Jordan Peele.
Lillehammer. A New York mobster goes into hiding in rural Lillehammer in Norway after testifying against his former associates. Frank Tagliano, played by Steve Van Zandt, is a former New York mobster who, after testifying in a trial in the United States, joins the Witness Protection Program. Intrigued by the place after watching the Winter Olympics in 1994, he is relocated to Lillehammer in Norway. The transition from being a feared and respected gangster in New York to becoming an unemployed immigrant in Norway is not simple. Frank soon discovers that in order to succeed in this rural Norwegian society, he must resort to his old ways.
IZ Steven Van Zandt as Frank Tagliano. Coach.
Jaini, Trond Fossa.
That is new.
Jaini are Jez Alpha. We mentioned before, they have the emoting that goes up throughout the entire face easily. In this case, it's a tower, so it's done more on the reflective, reactionary mode of waiting. So you can see here, instead of having that sort of forward quality of a G alpha, it's more of a holding its own space quality that the Jai alpha have. The emphasis is on the lower lip, and there's kind of like this just veil of poignancy that covers the whole face and gives a peaceful, calming quality, which gets used to great effect to humanize characters in film, but also to make great villains sometimes too, like in Gotham.
Mm-hmm. Nijai Steiner Sagen. So Nijai, we already went over a lady. Let me see. No, we didn't. Okay, so this is the very first Nijai. So things you'll notice with the Nijai is And with him, of course, being an Nizhai. So you'll notice the eyes, again, have, just like the Nizhai that I mentioned above, he has also those receptive eyes, drinking in the pattern-based information in the environment. Again, they're open, receptive, have all this laughing, almost like optimistic sort of quality to their eyes. There's this lift that you can see when he's looking at the camera, and even when he's looking off over there. In terms of the mouth and emoting, you'll see here on the right-hand side, that's highlighted when he's doing a smile. He has sort of this, what do you call it? Like he's smiling in such a way that like his lower lip really stands out, and it's sort of this like almost like the upper lip is going inward, and he's sort of biting, or like it's being taken over by the lower lip, because which Jai does that. It's sort of like a I don't know, it gives a vulnerable sort of look.
It does.
Doesn't it?
Well, as a shy user yourself, is there what is kind of going on when you do that?
Either maybe you're sometimes if you're embarrassed, or like taking, or sometimes like if it's something that makes you feel I don't know, it's sort of like the Jai is almost like
It's hugging itself or something. I don't know. It's
yeah.
Sort of, is it?
Yeah, because it can be like defensive. It's like because it is sort of a soothing sort of move, but it also can be like a happy, contented sort of involuntary reaction, I guess.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, a lot of the times when I feel like a G Mojo would be doing a smile, like if I try to do that, that's sort of how it comes off, like a little, like sort of a half-committed smile. That it's actually going more into a frown. At least personally, like when I feel like, oh, I should do something with my mouth to let them know without words what I think. I think that's sort of how it comes off, like because I don't have G. I'm trying to do something that's not really programmed to do. When in fact it might just be more proper for me to express something with Z, just very briefly.
Yeah,
cool.
and for G, I mean, it's like how does you interpret it? Are you in?
I like it. It actually kind of makes me want to say or do something to let, like in the right, that expression he's making. I kind of like, I want to reassure that things are going well. Like that's my natural instinct when I'm looking at that. Like it's all good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. But of course, since he is a lead, go ahead, Glenn.
I was just going to say, as a G user, it kind of lets you know, based on the Jai reaction that you're getting from the Jai user, kind of what they think and where they're at as far as like how it is that you, as a G user, are like kind of ideas that you're putting forward and whether or not how they're responding to them.
How they're being received.
So, yeah. How they're being received, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, on that, it kind of like on the right, it feels like he doesn't, kind of what Bruno was saying, he doesn't quite know how he feels exactly, but he's
yeah. So it's kind of like the G user's kind of job to sort of figure that out and then like adjust, to make them feel better.
Yeah, or maybe to just to try and coax or to maybe ask. Yeah, exactly. And actually, but it definitely it pulls me in.
It's like quizzical, like
yeah, that's a good word for it. Like emotional quizzical.
Yeah, like not knowing how to feel exactly. Does seem a little uneasy, like.
But it's interesting because it can be usually good. Like I've seen some Nijai, say comedians like Aziz Ansari, where he does a lot of his comedy. It actually like his emotional like sort of quizzical, not quite sure. That's actually like it's actually at the perfect note for the joke.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he's like he'll say something with Z, and he'll be like, he'll do expression like that, and that's like the perfect. It's interesting because it's not knowing, but it's the perfect thing to do.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Turn this up.
So,
I just did it, so it'll be yours then.
All right. Nizy Marianne Sastad Ottesen.
nice.
Nice.
Ejai Kami Carlson.
Zai Fridjov Sahim.
That's good.
Yeah, that sounds good. Jaini Robert Gerstad?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Nizai Ann Triggsvall. A lot of interesting names in this one.
Yeah.
Cool. Good to do.
All right. Let's start here. Pick back up with Scandal.
Is that Rosaria Dawson?
It's not
Kerry
Rosario
Washington.
Dawson, but it is.
And
She's
she's
a
Shinai.
Shinai.
I see.
Oh yeah.
All right, so now go into the weekly quiz. Samples came from Malcolm.
Yep. All right. This should be interesting. Okay, first of the requisite samples is Miranda Hart, a sitcom actress and comedian. What was your guess for Miranda, Bruno?
Nizy.
Yeah,
Alright.
I was. She was tricky. I was thinking Nizy, Jaini, and Nijai, but I went Nizy.
I also went with Nizy on her.
Nice. Yep, she is nice. She actually, for me, was a little tricky because of her heft. I briefly after a little bit, I actually was wondering if she was a Xeni.
Yeah, same. But that face is too long, right?
Yeah, elongated.
It
Yeah.
helps see earlier pictures of her.
Yeah, actually, yeah. The pictures really helped. Okay, next, Stanley Hainsworth, designer and Feather CCO. What was your guess, Bruno, for him?
Nizy.
For me, I said Vaiji.
Yeah, I went with Vaiji on him too.
I actually originally went Naiji, and then I went to Vaiji. I think it's a Vaiji, but I would definitely like to look at him again. His hands looked more wizard to me, but his face had that more sort of craggy, thin-lipped quality I associate with Vaiji. So I
Yeah.
believe Vaiji, but I would like to be more sure on that.
This is the one that had crazy hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like when I isolated just his face and took the hair out of the equation, he kind of looked like some politicians,
Yeah.
YG politicians. That's what, like, then I kind
I
of.
also know that sometimes Vaiji, they kind of fetish with their knee in certain interesting ways, with like bow ties that have like polka dots. Or sometimes they'll do something interesting with their hair. So I felt like that's what was going on with him, but yeah.
Yeah.
Like Patch Adams or Gene Shalit.
Yeah, definitely. And his way of talking was very kind of interpretive seeming. I mean, his line of thought, but you see sometimes when the marketing people like that who are Vaiji, sometimes that very sort of pattern-based way of speaking.
Yeah. True. Okay, so Trevor Noah, we took that out of the quiz since he was one that was that we have discussed before.
We read him before, right?
Yeah, we read it before, so she and I. So the next one then is Richard Bacon, a UK media personality famously fired for taking cocaine. What was your guess, Bruno, for Richard?
I said Nigy.
For me, I again went with the Vaiji. I think that's like a pallor quality to his face.
Yeah, I went with Vaiji on him as well.
Vaiji it is.
Vaiji it is. Okay, last of the requisites, Rebecca Black, singer and teen YouTube sensation, known for Friday, caused a lot of controversy and memes. Bruno, what was your guess for Rebecca?
I said Vijay.
Yeah, I went with Vijay too. Kind of riffed of Selena Gomez.
Yeah, I went with Vijay on her as well.
She is Vaiji. What was the controversy?
I guess because her first video was more, or or music was
Or
more
yeah, her music video Friday.
like more raw, right? She wasn't really like a polished singer, and so I don't know. There was a lot of people, a lot of young kids making fun of her singing skills, and because I think she went all out, she committed to it, but I guess it wasn't to the standards or whatever of the internet.
Yeah,
Is that like basically the story there?
yeah. The music video Friday got a lot of bad attention because it was really poorly done. I think a lot of people felt, and then they gave it a lot of bad news, and it got to some extreme point where some people were like making threats, and I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It devolved into some.
Yeah, it's sort of like if you don't like it, you don't have you just say that you don't like it. Some people when they get like so dislike on something, they like go kind of
Deranged, and they start projecting it onto that person, like
they
all
lose
their.
they lose the extreme level, which is not how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not good. All right, so now into optionals. Dermot O'Leary, TV and radio presenter, presented the X Factor. What was your guess for Dermot, Bruno?
I said Nizy.
Yeah, I said Nizy too. I was kind of wondering Z9. I see.
Yeah. I went with Nicey on him as well.
Interesting. Okay, we'll definitely take a look at this one. I think it's a G and I.
Interesting.
Sometimes even hard to tell apart.
Yeah, he had more like that stocky, like.
Yeah. More full face kind of quality, I guess you could say.
Yeah, full face. So I could see the Ginai, but yeah.
We'll take a look at that one.
All right, Lorraine Kelly, breakfast TV presenter. What was your guess, Bruno?
Bijai?
Okay.
I said G Vi for her.
I went with Zinai on her.
Z9 it is.
Z9, wow.
Yeah, she had a big smile, but it localized and seemed like some of those journalists, but very engaging, warm, good shy. Greg Wallace, TV presenter for MasterChef and a chef. What was your guess for him, Bruno?
I said Nijai.
I went with Nijai too.
I went with Vijay on him, but I could see Nijai.
I believe it actually is a Vijay, but he had a good eye and had to take a look at his eyes for a while.
Mm-hmm. I just didn't see him bobble.
No,
his eyes were bright, like laser-like. Okay, Stacey Dooley, a UK documentary filmmaker for Stacey Dooley Investigates. What'd you guess for her, Bruno?
Nijai?
What'd you guess, Glenn?
Oh.
Your audio kind of cut off there. Do you mind repeating what you guessed?
Oh, okay. I went with the Naiji for her.
Okay, cool, no problem. Yeah, I went with Naiji for her as well.
Naiji it is.
Yeah, she had a lot of humanity to her, like that. I had to, and she had long fingers, so I had kind of detached from that because I wanted to kind of go.
I was, yeah. Were you wondering maybe if she was like a shiny?
Yeah, I was wondering shiny. Yeah, for a while, but I was like, no, it's still like it seemed like she was
Leading.
by field reading and. Okay. Last sample here is Ian Hislop, editor of Private Eye magazine. What'd you guess, Bruno, for Ian?
Nijai?
I went with the Nizi.
I went with Nazi on him, but he was tough. He had like an interesting, like I thought I was seeing downturn, so I was seeing Jai, but I wasn't quite so comfortable about him.
I think he's a Baiji with a pouchy face.
Oh, okay.
Politician face.
He did. It's just like he had downturned mouth and like, yeah, so that threw me off.
All right, so you have several
Way to
to
consider. Okay. Is there anyone in the requisite that anyone wants to take a look at specifically?
No, not me.
Yeah, not particularly.
I thought it was going to be better on this quiz, but
Well, you did pretty good.
The August.
You got all the You get all the requisites and you got
Well,
more-
sure, yeah. I mean,
Right.
but the optional ones. I think we can look over definitely. For
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so the Dermot O'Leary would be one of them. I don't think we got that one, so Coach, you'll have to guide us through that one.
I
O'Leary.
think some of the other guests that came in were also saying Nizi in him, so Nizi was a popular choice.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. What happened there?
And this cat started hanging around with Puxy over the last couple of years.
Oh, he reminds me of Strombopoulos now from the side.
A couple of run for us as they were feeding as well. I went out on Easter and I came back and was pregnant. I came back a day early and Dee, my wife, called me up and just to let you know, she's having a kid.
Not really from the front.
Okay, so I believe this is emoting on the outward expressive phase, and it looks like it's coming up into the eyes here. One thing might be a bit throwing is that he's very comedic, and we don't sometimes see the Jinai doing that quite as much.
Yeah.
Made her a manger.
Observational comedy, not as I don't necessarily see like Shinai and that feel as much.
Trevor Noah, but yeah, it's not as common.
No.
So deconstructed this kind of little.
I mean, deep down, he gave a little jut there. It looked like it was a warm.
Crib, I suppose, for her, and then stayed up with her all night, held her paw, like pushing against her, gave her a little bit of water, and then 4 kittens popped out. So we just thought we're up and we've got 2. So you've got them over here. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think he looks fairly classic Jinai if you take away his job and his sort of comedic delivery.
Tom does. Really? Yeah. So
give us the breakfast.
He sort of shrugged his shoulders.
Okay,
Yeah,
right there.
the emoting.
That looks like it's on the outward phase.
I was actually seeing it when I was looking at it, but because I was like kept saying I see emoting going up really high, but I just didn't want to like.
It's unusual.
Yeah, it's unusual, and I just didn't go with it.
It crinkles a lot.
Sharon's gone.
Do you know what? Last year was probably my favourite year we've done.
Just comparing him to Jonathan Ross, you can see differences.
Yeah.
She does feel like the mum of the show. And
Yeah, he squinches up he can like man the show. He juts and it squinches and it goes up his whole face.
you know, everyone got on really well. There wasn't all that awful tension that you sort of read about in the papers halfway through. Where so-and-so said so-and-so about so-and-so, and he's just also schoolyard, and it just is quite a corrosive atmosphere.
Right there. So
Yeah.
he does that actually quite a bit.
Yeah, no, that jumps out.
Coolio. All right, next one.
All right, Lorraine.
Did we want to maybe look at the Vaiji guy that we thought maybe could be an IG for the requisites?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind looking at him. Again.
Oh, Stanley Ellsworth?
Yeah.
Is that the guy? Or was it Richard Bacon?
No, Stanley Hainsworth.
Stanley?
Yeah.
Okay.
And for me, he was quite challenging. I think he was the hardest one for me.
.com, and they came to us, and they're
Okay, so this is one kind of going up with Jarlene was saying. If you ignore his hair, but for me, I had to go even further than that. I kind of had to ignore his whole game. Like I find if you freeze frame him right now and take off his hair,
He looks like a politician.
he looks like a politician. Looks like a Vaiji politician. But the more I listen to him talk, the more he gave this kind of like pattern-based way of looking at stuff. He has a very good knee.
I have there's 3 people, and they had this great idea to go into people's closets and to
Yeah, that the way he sort of skins his teeth there, it kind of highlights that tension difference between the Der Sens and the Der Roms. Yeah, when I originally watched him, he kind of put me under a spell when he was monologuing, talked about various topics, and I thought Naiji. And then when I came back to look at him, it was bothering me. Something was bothering me. I had to keep freeze framing and looking at pictures.
Fill their closets. They photograph.
Also, his hands, the way he uses his hands, even has a more kind of I don't know, dreamy storyteller kind of way, like he's selling an idea. I can hear that drone though. Yeah, and again, if you take off the side hair on him, he kind of looks like a Giuliani or some other ones, like, I mean, politicians. You're saying, Glenn?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I think he probably he looks up to a lot of Naiji and he tries to emulate Naiji in a way, maybe.
Does look like he's got a game that he's some sort of idea in his head that he is going for, because it's not as usual as you would see.
Yeah, but we've seen some marketing gurus that are 5G and
True.
have had a lot more need. So we may see like a whole vein of those if we were to look into like top designers and marketing ad executives, of ones that are just have more knee game, like freeform knee game, and they're just like that.
Yeah,
That would make sense because
Brings out more eccentricity on their part, more creativity, like.
Yeah, exactly.
that seems like the kind of thing that would be really attractive to Vijay. Just like having really like interesting, interesting like new things. Like like things about like merging your comfort, your home, and like working space and comfort. Thinking about like your day-to-day life. Like a lot of this stuff is about daily living, like routine. How to make your routine interesting.
Good angle on it.
Yeah.
And even though the hair is unusual, that's a haircut that, as far as I know, was made famous in the '90s by Keith Flint of the Prodigy.
Ah.
It's actually like a 20-plus-year-old haircut that was back then. So
Right. Yeah.
Even though it looks unusual and cool, it's like an old kind of cool by now.
That's a good angle on it as well.
Throwback, right? Yeah.
Kind of throwback, creative. And then here in at 406, I mean, this looks like classic, like the tension in the mouth, and then the eyes a little tighter than you would see in an IG.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Definitely helped for me, pictures and freeze frames. And it's interesting you mentioned that, Charlie. I also, too, had to kind of like imagine his face without the hair. And when you do, it looks like a doctor maybe or a politician.
Mm-hmm.
Coolio. All right, let's do some more.
Coolio. Anyone else in the requisite group? You're good. Okay.
Not so much.
All right. Does anyone want to look at Lorraine Kelly?
There's so many.
Yeah, I think we got some mixed answers for her. I think you're the only one that got her, though, Sean.
You went with Bruno. You went with Nijai on her.
Said Vijay.
Vijay. Okay, yeah, because you were saying, and you had said Jivai. Right, Glenn?
Yeah, I said Shiva. I thought I was seeing, Shiva.
Definitely has a full face and.
And then you can buy.
Okay, so here we go. So here, so I was seeing that pilot right away. Yeah. So that pilot face, I see like the one plate, one facial plate. Here though, like she's very warm, but when she does smile, like it's really only around her mouth area that's being activated. And she reminded me a little bit of Sharon Osbourne.
Sharon Osbourne. Yeah, that's what I just realized right when you
energy,
started.
The like more knee, like more more loose, I guess.
Right. Yeah. More natural in a way.
More natural. Yeah. Yeah. Her jai, she lets her jai like free more, like loose more. Makes her very engaging. But let's see. So there, yeah, see activating right around the mouth, localized. You don't see it going into her cheeks or really much beyond the mouth.
So it's just showing you the bit that
Yeah, there's.
matter most.
Yeah, a little more, but yeah.
Yeah, so she laughs in the pauses, you know, like she's inward resonating.
Yeah, I think I was just thrown off by the smile. It's so
Yeah.
big.
Big smile, yeah.
Yeah, but that upper lip plate and
Yeah,
that's shy. Yeah.
That's shy. So, yeah, like smiling in the pauses. See what else we got here. Yes.
Yeah, I think I see it quite well. I think.
Mhm. How about you, Bruno? Where are you at?
I can see it. I totally see it.
You're seeing
Yeah.
shades mainly, right?
Yeah, I guess Vijay.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of tension in her gesturing.
But it is choppy, right? It's like choppy.
Yeah, a lot of double jutting, yeah. Yeah. Good
That's
use
good.
for Jai. Good development. You want to take a look at? Is there anyone before Ian that anyone wants to take a look
I
at?
think the Greg Wallace one you got.
Okay.
Yeah, Greg Wallace, another. I thought he was gonna be Nijai. Seemed like a kind of classic,
Gather
more
with Jai.
mainstream.
Having worked in the hospitality industry as a food producer,
Yeah,
writer, with his own cafe concept,
see
Wallace
here.
Co., I caught up with
Yeah, there was
And I so like the area for the past 6 months. The
a
concept
bit of a like the knee with the Nijai. They tend to have more of like this vibratory quality to them, given their knee and their Jai combination. He seemed a lot more compact in a way.
it's
Like his hands, the way his skin, and like everything about the way that he presented himself.
others on their cooking.
It kind of struck me a little bit odd for a Nijai.
I
It
Yeah.
made me even want to think about like Naiji a little bit, but I was like, no, I think I'm seeing Nijai with the yeah. I thought that I was seeing more of like a professional quality Nijai. Yeah.
I guess we have some Vijay purifications coming up that would probably help us with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think so. And he's continuing
Yeah.
the pattern of the Vijay's chefs. There are quite a few Vijay male and female chefs.
Yeah.
He has that sort of like very like buoyant, like not buoyant, but like that gatherer, like lifted sort of energy, but with that down to earth like professionalism that Vijay get. This one's not the best.
Yeah, this one's not a good video at all.
Yeah. Let me try to do this one instead.
Yeah, the Vijay, they approach it more from the perspective of like the food and the tasting and sort of like experiencing life in that kind of a way. The Nijai, they're more.
It's a way to express creativity, I guess.
Yeah, I would agree. It's
a different type of creativity.
Artistic, kind of like let's see what we can come up with. You know,
Yeah,
like
you know, this it actually makes a lot of sense because, like I said on the forum, like I feel like the Vajez historically, like if you think about the big monuments of the world, things that have lasted thousands of years, you know, that have attracted like billions of people to them, I actually associate that more with Vajez than Nijez. like building an object, like a mecha type of thing. Like I suspect, Vegez have a lot to do with that. Both him, her, and her, him storylines. Just because, all the big festivals, the big like events, and all these things. It seems like that's very much a Vegez thing to do. Like Vegez like it as a platform for ideas, but ideas are not fixed. They're not physical. If they're here and gone the next day, that's fine as long as they live on. Where Vegez would probably feel a very deep need to like secure a physical stamp on the world, like built like the Wall of China, or the pyramids, or that kind of thing. Like I feel like Vegez having a deep tie to that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it might go hand in hand with like also like a show. It could be like a Zenai, for example, like leaders wanting a symbol of their power, or Vaiji wanting a symbol of their permanent rituals. And then, but it seems like sometimes who they've commissioned the art to can be Nujez to actually create that vision sometimes.
Yeah, I really feel like the Nujez are more focused, or they're more driven, or they're more inspired by like coming up with new ideas just for their own sake. See if they can kind of come up with anything new, and that's kind of like what motivates them. And then
Building, observing,
sharing that, I guess.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I think I can see definitely that he's a Vijay.
So
There was something.
his hands are fleshy.
Yeah, and his face, it's got that more yang kind of supple quality that the V has, and it's got more of like a firmer quality to it as well. Everything about his like qualia kind of gives that. And I was really confused by that at first. I was like, why does he hit me in this kind of like more yang kind of like secure kind of way? It doesn't seem.
Yeah.
And for me,
like it would make
I
more.
actually briefly toyed with the idea that he was a chunky Vaiji. Because the kind of professional thing, I guess I need more experience with Vijay to see them. They also kind of go for that. But the way he's got that sort of Natalie dressed, put together quality.
Yeah, but when I saw pictures, that's where I was like that was so much like gather or lift that I was seeing in the pictures, and the prick ups just looked really natural.
Yeah, same thing here. When I first saw him, though, I saw him on some of the clips where he was kind of like walking around, talking, traveling. He kind of gave him like this journalistic vibe.
Yeah, definitely more poised.
Yeah. More poised is a good word. Yang. It's more just like not as sensitive like with the Nez. The Ni gives a sensitivity, I guess you could say, like a neuroticism a little bit. You know what I mean? That's something that I was missing when I was reading that, for sure.
Yeah. So like the picture that I posted, for example, that I just linked, that one really, is one of those that jumped out. Like because he does a lot of pictures where he's clowning around. And this one with the perk up, the eyes just look really clear, like a laser eye.
His face also kind of reminds me of some like wrestlers in a way as well. Some Vijay wrestlers. It kind of does.
Fleshy, upbeat quality.
But he's kind of like gone in the route of like a chef, right? So that's an interesting kind of angle.
That there's like almost like Zest for Life.
Yeah, Zest for Life. This one. Yeah.
See, and that's the thing is like I can see him working very closely with a Vaiji, maybe a politician or some sort of high-level guy, to put together this really great event for people, like especially Vegez, to get together at. And that's something we've been missing. Is like we see a lot of male Naiji with male Nijai, or female Naiji with female Nijai. So the same gender Vegez, and we don't see as much of that with the Vegez yet. I think because we haven't touched on that, but it doesn't seem. It only makes sense that they would also do a similar type of thing, they'd have like augmentation or like same gender relations in working environments or things like that, where like they play different angles. Like in music, you see this a lot. Like the Naiji will often have like the big view, and the Nijai will often have the bridges. The Nijai will know all the different groups and all the different connections. And I can't see why it's not the same with the Vijez, like the Vaiji having.
It seems like a corollary would be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like having the Vaiji having the historical angle and the position and ranking to do that, and then the Vijay having just all the agility and connections to put together. But it's more like an event.
He has a show where he has a partner, and they talk about stuff a lot. I'm looking at the time to see if I can figure who that his partner is on that show. Because he does actually do like a tag team show where he has another guy on there, and they like take on topics.
Mm.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting. Either if he's Vijay or Vaiji, or even if something else.
Possibly, yeah.
Curious. Can you put it just type in there George Wallace show? See if I can find it.
When it comes to the Nijai and the Vijay, I
Have a show partner. You're saying?
I feel like he's a little bit more notable. Yeah, I think like with the Nijai, you said that they tend to be more like in the public eye or something like that, as compared to the Vijay, or something along those lines. He seems this guy. He seems to be quite like he's got like his own TV series and stuff, and he seems like.
I think Lynn, we're gonna get an upgrade to a lot of this generalizations.
Okay. Okay.
Coach, would you want to tease out a few of the Vijay that you're pretty certain, like you said, Pitbull, and that rings very true.
Yeah, Pitbull. There's a Timbaland as far as music goes.
Oh wow, he's huge. Yeah, he's worked with everybody.
Yeah, and then also like and then say food like a Mark Vitale and Emeril Lagasse, and when it comes to
also,
they work with everyone.
Is Barry White a Vijay too? I think you said.
Yeah.
Barry White.
Very white.
Very white.
Oh my God! Jesus Christ! All these heavyweights.
Big time, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And it makes perfect sense because the Vijay female is at the top of the top, like Aretha Franklin, Dolly Parton. Nowadays, Nicki Minaj and all the other Vijay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Big shots. So yeah. So I'm working on cleaning it up, and then you and I, Bruno, will go through it together, and then for like I'll kind of walk you through it, and you can help me clean up some more of it, and then we'll present it to the team. I think it'll be a big upgrade for everyone.
Hold on. What about Christina Aguilera? How do we feel?
Christina Aguilera. Okay, I don't want to give too much now, but I believe she's a Jive.
That makes sense too.
That makes sense.
Yeah, her eyes are just.
We'll stay on topic, but yeah, it's gonna be the music's I got a lot going on there. We only have one sample from Malcolm, so let's go ahead and review Ian. And with Ian,
I think we had gone the route of Nizi with him.
Right. Yeah, I think I went with Nizi. What was some of the other answers? Did you both also say Nizi?
I said Nizi. What did you say, Bruno, for him?
Sydney Jai.
Nijai. Yeah, I can see that too. I was like seeing the downturn, but.
The thing is, he's so.
Sorry, I cut you off there.
you're saying, Glenn, you're muted right now, Glenn.
You're muted still.
He seems so comedic in a way, like the way he would always crack jokes, even when he was like doing lawyer stuff, and then like that again, it kind of like threw me off a little bit. I thought I was seeing like a Nez Alpha.
Yeah, I noticed that some of these Vaiji who are more I call like pop culture careers, where they are working in magazines or fields like that are covering, I'll say, like hipper topics, for example. They tend to be a lot more quippy with their knee.
Yeah.
Doing lawyer stuff.
Yeah, but I think I did notice, like, I was thinking Vaiji at first, but then I kind of like derailed into the land of Nez Alpha.
No, I had the same effect with him as I did with the other guy, although it wasn't as pronounced, where I found him easier when I made sure to kind of like detach from his game, like how he was using his powers. The more I just kind of focused on what is his face doing and not what he's saying, that really helped.
Yeah, and...
What's that, Glenn?
Oh, wait. Sorry, it's cycling through.
Sorry, it's his eyes. They kind of bother him. They seemed, I don't know, like the Vi. I don't want to insult it, but it kind of seems like Dodo-ish the way the eyes look. You know what I mean? It's kind of a little bit interesting. I don't mean to be offensive there, but it's
No, you're trying to search
kind of got this kind of.
find the right language is one of the big things we have to do, because this phenomenon, it hits everyone differently, and the adjectives they use to do it vary accordingly.
Yeah, I guess he's.
Well, like detached, but then at the same time focused on something very specific. Like that's kind of like what I'm trying to say, really. And I didn't know how to take that exactly. So
One thing that's interesting on that, maybe it's related to it, is as part of his comedy, which I've noticed that the Baiji tend to use, he has this worried look a lot. And then he'll say something, and then his eyes will perk up with knee, like hee hee. But he actually has a general, it's interesting kind of humor style where the concern is like put forward, and then there's like this relief of the concern. You mean kind of like in, like, say, music or other things where it's like, you're kind of left with like a want, and then there's resolution. Like the expression right here, I mean, that looks like a Baiji politician. But then he says these things that kind of like give these breaks to the concern. Yeah, he just did there. He panned away from when he did it. He goes, "Yeah, he's my first journalistic idol," and then he gives like this little like delighted knee, a reaction to his own Vi comment.
yeah, he does.
Yeah, he is.
What's that, Glenn?
He does a lot of that. Like he'll say something, and then he'll kind of like smirk to himself. That kind of seems like shy almost, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what confused me.
But look at this. Look,
Yeah, it's
I mean,
like
that's concern. That's a look you'll see in a lot of politicians right
Warm
there.
concern.
Warm concern.
It's like, how do you feel?
And it's another one where sometimes like you see a subjective mojo who's really good at engaging. You need to pay attention in their game on tracking how long they actually look directly at the face, because they're maybe doing all these maneuvers that are hitting with like, wow, this person's really engaging. And yet if you actually track, like, say, the minutes of how much they're giving eye contact directly, it's actually quite few. Same here. He does these little quips that are extremely effective, but if you actually look at him, he has a concerned look on his face 75% of the time or more.
Yeah, he kind of like throws his ideas out there, and then just kind of lets them go, and then he doesn't like maintain the eye contact to sort of like see them through in a way.
Yeah, and he kind of like squints his eye and goes blah 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 blah. He's squinting like, and it's so effective.
Yeah,
That part that's kind of what you remember. Yeah, it's interesting. He kind of goes like vibe, and then he knees it. It's really quite interesting. But yeah, I mean, most of the time his face is doing this.
Squinting, right?
Yes, squinting and concern. The overall energy is concern, but then he keeps, and then did it again, and he kept like, and then he almost like a Zai purse with his eyes dancing with the knee. See? Bye, concern. Concern. This is very journalistic here. And then bam! Need to punctuate. Those knee punctuations are really memorable.
Oh, and they kind of like that's all you pay attention to almost in a way.
Yeah, they really it's kind of like, it's like the punchline. That's what sticks to you, that knee punchline at the end.
And I think the cheeks, they kind of look sort of like anvil, sheer, because they're so kind of like full in a way, and the downturn quality of the mouth kind of looks The way his mouth looks like Jai. I think all of that combined, it just kind of like it was just too much, I guess.
Shiny, just because of his like.
I was actually wondering Ziny a little bit too. I was like, is that like a kind of Sheldon Cooper kind of?
Yeah, for me, I was between the Vaiji and actually knee Jai because of how much he was punctuating with his knee, and then he has these little cherubic little squints he does. You know what I mean? It looks very like delighted, and the more roundness of the face as well.
Yeah.
He keeps doing the same maneuver. They'll ask him a question, and he'll be like, and he gets very serious. All the point, he closes his eyes with concern, and then he gives a quip to it, like, "Oh, that is a very muddy matter, but mud can be fun, can't it?" You know, he's doing that. You're like, such as, "Oh yes, they did muck that up last year, didn't they? But hey, it was a good laugh." And he keeps hitting that same note over and over again. So I think it might be a big part of the Vaiji humor. Very likable.
Yeah.
Care for it. Alrighty. Are we ready to move on to the live read?
Yeah.
All right. Malcolm, send it in.
Do we have two or just one?
Just
We have one.
Yeah, I think we'll have plenty of time for one. Very interesting. Really expecting to do a bit better on that one, but there was quite a few angles there that were tricky, and I missed them. But it's good. You learn. You live and learn.
For sure. Updating the lens. Pay off in the long run. Okay, so Gary Lineker is who we're reading today. Retired soccer player and sports broadcaster.
Well, I grew up in Leicester, and it's an awfully long time ago, so I'll try my best to remember. But what most kids
So
do,
retired soccer player, sports broadcaster.
Soccer players for males.
Zivi and Jivi for the males.
The Zivi, I thought that was more for the females.
Both.
And then I think there's also Vi Z, like David Beckham.
Terrific.
So Vi Z less, right?
Less so, but it's still
less
there as well.
so.
Yeah. As far as I can remember.
Mostly Jivi and Zivi, though, right? I think.
Yeah.
Beautiful soccer. Yeah.
That's right.
Well, yeah, I loved both football and cricket as a kid.
Gary Lineker.
I probably showed a little bit more ability at cricket at that particular stage, but as I got older, I think the football opportunity of professionalism came along first. I took it, and then cricket sort of took a back seat from there. But I always played.
Almost leaning towards Zivi on him.
Because it's a great sport. But in the end, I suspect it was probably the right opposite. There wasn't too many people from different cultures in the particular school I went to. There was always bullying. If you just stand out a little bit, if you look a little bit different.
I feel like I'm strangely getting this impression that he's a directive, but I don't think I buy it in a way.
Quite a lot of the time. So on the receiving end, a bit of that. But I think if you sort of good at sport, you seem to.
This one where also pictures might be helpful as well.
That to a certain degree, which is right, of course. But so there's I didn't experience that much, but enough to know that kids can be really cruel.
When kids face in schools,
Like this one here. What's Boris Becker? Mojo.
Who?
To the people that
Boris Becker.
are on the receiving end, I think it's difficult to say. I think you should, the best way in the world, you can say, well,
curious because I saw a headline that had him in. I was just curious.
Maybe.
Alright, this picture here that I just posted, it seemed like, I don't know, it looks like he has
but it's, different people react.
Gives me an easy time neutralizing, maybe?
Other people will
Let's
I
see.
am really wondering if that is like a Z anvil or a Z like pilot face. This is just more like elongated looking.
I don't think there's one given way.
Because it's interesting.
This is how you should deal with it. I suspect if it gets anything above just the occasional comment, then it's probably best to talk to people. I would say I think it's what he's always.
Z bike could make sense.
If they're really scared and are facing, real.
Sorry, what makes sense? Zevi?
I think so. I think he might be a Z-Vi with like a more elongated kind of looking face. Some pilots they tend to have that. I think that might be what's going on with him.
I suppose.
Although I'm not 100% just yet, so
Quite scary.
take that with a grain of salt.
Implications might be from those bullying, but I think you've got to think to yourself, well, it can't really get any worse. If I'm already scared, I might as well, just include people. At least they might have the wherewithal to do something about
This
it.
is an interesting picture I want to throw by you guys. What do you guys think about this?
It's a big smile.
Those eyes look pretty big too, huh?
What motivates
The eyes could be polar knee.
Could be.
people say.
I don't know. I'm not sure it's
Polar.
that altered.
Not polar, but that
Tandem? Tandem B?
Offside?
Going on.
Well, it would be offside, right? This is-
Okay, yeah.
For Zevi, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Trying to group of people,
I think it's,
wrong things, doing really bad things. There might be an assumption that everyone's like that in that particular genre.
because it looks a little bit altered, but it doesn't look entirely like polar altered like it would for like a Vi-G
Whatever
or a
skin,
Vi-Z. Like,
religion,
who's that one MMA guy that lost against that Nate
always bad people.
Who's this?
you guys guy?
The who?
Conor McGregor?
Huh? That like that.
Conor McGregor?
Yeah, exactly. He does that like really wide-eyed opening with his eyes, right? And then that looks very altered.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm seeing that level of altered with his Gary's.
When you tend to look around,
Right.
look around and see he's a really good player. He's a midfield player. He's not that good, but he tries really hard. And you don't think, well, he's black and he's got an Asian skin colour, or you just don't understand why you would think like that, because ultimately you're on the same team, or you're playing against somebody, and it's sport. And I think sport's great for that. I know we've got troubles and we highlight issues, but at least in sport we try to do something about it. People speak up against it. And it's, and generally, on the field of play, it's a pretty rare event that you get that kind of racism. So, and the other good thing about I think football.
So I'm seeing him do a pretty big smile here. I just want to ask if you guys think this would be a Zevi smile.
But in terms of
I see.
I think that's it's a great example of how
Certainly
you
very
see-
big looking, but like we saw, like with Lorraine Kelly, her smiles look very big too when she scrunched her face like that.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to the video that we're seeing here, he
Running within the game. Perhaps
does a lot of eye contact. I'm noticing that he does
I think we can certainly
sort of like look away quite a bit, and at the same time he kind of looks.
the generation now that just finished going into
He has a substantial looking hand. Like pilot hands, maybe.
So and they've grown up in a different era, where I think the people that are a little bit younger have grown up more accustomed to different races, different cultures as they've grown up. So I don't even know think
He looks around a lot.
probably most
Yeah.
people don't. It's maybe subconscious. I don't know. I think they're all a little bit different. But I think it will change when the next generation comes through, and the generation behind us that's grown up in different circumstances.
So you actually lived for a while in Japan and Spain
Mhm.
as well.
How did you find it?
That jutting seemed comfortable.
Well, sometimes it's different, and I imagine it's the same when people come here. You've got language issues. I learned Spanish, and you've got survival Japanese. So, you've got to work hard yourself and try and make it easy for yourself to be able to communicate with.
Could be bobble.
Not just Spain, but
What's that, Glenn?
I think that might be bobble.
So you sort of got to make.
When he goes left to right or left, yeah.
I went
Side to side.
But both those countries various times in sport and events, and I suppose
Compared to someone like Mike Bisbing, you guys think that there's a similarity there?
There would be different riffs.
They are different riffs. Who's like a good Zevi riff that could be used as a good sounding board? Or maybe even Z9, maybe, I don't know. I want to look at some sort of get an idea of like whether or not we're seeing the same thing.
Sometimes they will look down. On people in those circumstances.
What's Wayne Gretzky?
Sometimes
I see.
Yeah, I think Spain's.
I was looking at Wayne Gretzky, and I was seeing some parallels, but that may be just in my head. I'm not sure.
Gretzky?
Yeah.
I can.
He's by Z.
Yeah.
I see more races around Spanish football.
That's an interesting riff, yeah. It does make sense of the elongation, I think, to a certain degree.
Towards black belt, which is unacceptable. But it's down to education. Ultimately, that's has to be the thing. But in each country, to take that responsibility themselves.
About migraines, then.
Yeah, that neutralizing. Okay.
They like to come into this country because they're stubborn or they're footballers, but they get the raw deal and they get to blame all the social ills.
Well, I think there's certainly a trend towards blaming. I think immigrants towards various things, whether it be tainting benefits and stuff. And the truth is that
His video is pretty good, but I think maybe it would be good to get a different angle.
it's gone.
Yeah, we got more. He's like an older one.
Gary Lipker is good to see you, Gary, and congrats. Oh, now you came off towards the end. What was the problem?
I had a bit of problem with my stomach tonight. I've not been too well in that area for the last few days, and I was getting quite a few bad stomach pains, so they thought I'd probably change me. There's only a few minutes left anyway.
Never helps, but hopefully you'll be fit for the next one. What was the overall mood? What was the overall mood after?
That smile.
Well, naturally, a bit disappointed.
Okay, he's articulating right now. It seems pretty like matter of fact, kind of.
It's always disappointing to lose again.
I wouldn't know that I'd necessarily classify this as warm articulation.
It's incredibly difficult.
Yeah, I'm having second thoughts about the Zevi now. I'm looking at some other Zevi here, and they all seem to have that notable pilot face.
Everywhere, and we couldn't really get out with the wind that was against.
What are you thinking more Hunter?
I think so.
Sure.
Unfortunately for us, Kevin Shealy's got a great foot stuck it away.
So you rather look
and
more.
The smile looks for a little bit more normal for the Zevi 2.
They are a great side, that's without question.
And fuller and bigger, and the face has more of like a prominence to it, with the forehead and the jaw being more thicker.
I think that's the side. Really made for playing against that style of football. We're not,
no, I don't think he's a pilot. I think he's a pilot.
Pretty much physical.
I think Hunter, subjective at least, makes more sense. Probably Hunter.
Well, that's right. All you need is 3 points. You haven't got to go mad and get them all.
Now that you mention it, Charlene, I think Wayne Gretzky is a pretty good riff.
Both the other side.
Makes me wonder if he could be possibly one.
On the other side, we've got to game against Holland, and if we can get something out of that, we'll be in a very strong position to qualify.
Okay, that's complete. Well done on the goal.
Want to watch another video of him?
Maybe John Frost.
Where do you see that?
There we go.
Thank you. Oh goodness. He went right to it. Mm.
You've been waiting about 14 years to do that to me. It's good to see you. For a man in his early 60s to look as good as he, can I say too how well you look for someone so unathletic? So, how's it going? You looking?
No, I don't think he's a Jai-V either.
No, I'm not getting that. I mean, I'm not getting those.
Yeah.
But I'm not getting those signals.
I wanted. He seems too directive, right? He seems naturally directive to me.
Yeah, it
doesn't
seems
it?
like he's steering things.
It does seem that way to me too.
Mm.
Yeah, I think the Visey is a good emoji to go with.
Mm.
Or maybe maybe he could be like a Naiji.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that's aware
Yeah,
emoting, right?
I'm saying that every time I go. Just before, in fact, the time itself, even at the moment we've got games in front of us, it's like, I mean, it's not one of, like, me and this playing, I mean, we're talking about the family key,
Yeah, I think I want to say Visey as my. I feel like that's the one emoji that I want to go.
Yeah, I can't really see him being anything but a hunter, and Visey seems to make the most sense.
Okay.
I'm still a little bit worried about the Zvi, but I don't think I'm seeing Zvi. As far as like the cues, they don't seem to be matching up to that of a Zvi. And Jai-V, the emoji doesn't seem like it's going all the way up into the brow line. It doesn't seem like he has that much shine. He doesn't seem adaptive either, does he?
Doesn't seem that way.
Yeah. I'm willing to call it if you guys feel comfortable.
Yeah. I mean, I am. Yeah. All right, Bruno. Start off with you. What's your guess for Mr. Lineker?
Visey?
What you going?
Yeah. For me, Visey, Jai-V, Zvi. Nice.
I'll go with Visey and then Zvi.
I believe he's a Zvi.
Okay.
Oh.
We haven't had much experience
Fun.
with Zvi sportscasters. We've seen more Z9 and Vi-Z. And he has a very good game with lots of knee. If we look here, though, I believe his cheeks are full-on Anvil. Z Alpha Anvil. Maybe we should watch a little more of him now that we know this, just kind of take it in. Some things, he double juts quite a bit. He has more active natural animation. So double jutting, natural animation, the knee is more higher ranked, and something you mentioned, Jailene, the hands are more substantial and choppy.
Yeah. Okay. So I was seeing that.
Yeah, those are pile of hands.
You know what? There's one Z9 dude that kept coming to mind for me, and he seemed like a good like a Z Alpha riff.
Yeah,
But
just, that's how I got here. I actually was riffing off of Z9 because he reminded me a bit of some politicians and of sportscasters, both of which there's not many ZIs, mainly all Z9.
Right.
But his game, I didn't have a lot of ZVI riffs to go off of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he has a pretty good vibe development as well, right? Because he doesn't always maintain eye contact.
No.
But I guess if you clocked it, you probably would be able to note that he does keep good eye contact for.
His cheeks.
Here now, he's doing a lot of it. But the very first interview, I felt like he was more scattered with his eye contact.
Definitely a good, I think, Vayan Jai introspection. He's quite introspective in how he answers his questions.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the reason why he got chosen for his position as a sportscaster.
Yeah, able to express that. Okay.
Cool.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
That was a toughie. So thank you for that, Malcolm. That's good. Help expand the ZVI riffs there, because I think in soccer, I guess in those sportscasters we may see more ZVI because they're in the sport, but in general we don't see too many of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Alrighty. So good session, everyone. Small session, but we actually took it on. Had some good cases today.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, a lot of instruments for sure. And I'm looking forward to that drop on the Vijay. Definitely. That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
it's coming. I'm working on that really hard. So I hope to have that done before the TV timeline runs out. I want to be able to go right into that.
Awesome. Sounds good.
All right, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll be seeing you, Glenn, on Tuesday.
All right.
Cool beans.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Good night.